If you are currently in a situation where you're thinking about getting a loan from PenFed or Navy Fed, I have the perfect solution for you. I have the perfect video for you. Because in today's conversation, I want to compare and contrast the Navy Fed $50,000 loan and the PenFed $50,000 loan, okay? Which one is definitely the best and why? Don't you go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation, I guarantee it.
One in a million, one in a million, one in a million. You know they're coming up to me, cause I'm just the kind of flower that's stinging in the beat, but the rhythm's getting higher. Go, 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 go. One in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome City Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you had to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or a tea or vodka. Now let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to compare and contrast two very important personal loans. We're going to talk about Navy Fed $50,000 loan and PenFed $50,000 loan. First, let's start with the basics, okay? The thing here is that whether you apply a Navy Fed or PenFed, I want to say right off the bat, do not ghost them, okay? When you start applying, if they ask questions, if they want additional information, extra paperwork, don't ghost them. Don't try to ignore their calls or emails and whatnot. This is really not good because both institutions are very, very responsive, and they want if they want to get information from you, you better give them to them, okay? So let's talk about Navy Fed. With Navy Fed, we're talking about $250 to $50,000, okay? That's the delta, that's the range, okay? So, and the thing here is that you have auto-pay discounts that are available with them, and there are no prepayment fees, okay? The only drawback for this Navy Fed loan is that rate discounts apply only to active duty members, okay? And there are potential late fees. Obviously, it is a credit union, so you need to have some kind of military connection to qualify, okay? So that's for Navy Fed. Let's talk about PenFed. PenFed is kind of cool too, but PenFed, the delta is $600 to $50,000. So we're talking about a range of $600 to $50,000, okay? And what we love with PenFed is that they have low minimum credit score requirements. You have a wide constellation of loan amounts, and there are no origination or prepayment fees, okay? That's what it is. And the only drawback is that with PenFed, you need to maintain, in some cases, a PenFed savings account, okay? And co-signers are not permitted. So when you think about Navy Fed and PenFed loans, Navy Fed loans is great for anybody who has an account with the institution, okay? And Navy Fed is really good if you are looking for the funds fast. They're really good in terms of dispersing the funds real quick. PenFed is kind of cool too because it's kind of cool too. The only thing is it might take a little longer. So while Navy Fed will take, let's say, a day or two to disperse the funds, PenFed might take 3 days, okay? So we have a slight delay here, but overall, those two are great loans. I want to talk to you about the loan purpose, okay? The thing here is that you have to justify the loan purpose, the use of loan proceeds to both institutions. This is important, boss. And I want you to take it seriously because a lot of people just go around thinking, hey, listen, as long as I qualify for a loan, I don't have to justify the use of loan proceeds. No, it is federal regulation that you disclose how you're going to use the funds on a loan application, okay? So Navy Fed, they allow you to use the money for debt consolidation, home improvement, personal expenses. I'm talking about auto repairs, if you have veteran bills and whatnot. And the only prohibited use is illegal activity. In other words, Navy Fed is not going to give you the cash and you just go and fool around and just engage in something illegal. Okay, so this is important. Obviously, you're not going to tell them, but I'm just telling you here not to even engage in that, okay? Because if they find out, guess what? Your ass is on the line. So we really don't want to go to that particular extreme here, okay? We're trying to be legit here. So the loan purpose with PenFed. Well, here are the permitted uses. So PenFed allows you to use the cash for debt consolidation, home improvement, transportation expenses, medical and dental bills, okay, personal events like weddings and vacations. They're cool with that. Okay, this is really cool. And the thing here is that when we talk about prohibited uses for PenFed does not want you to use the money they give you to refinance a student loan. So they don't want that, and they don't want you to take the money also for secondary education. In other words, there are specific loans for that purpose. So you can see here that both institutions have they have put measures in place to make sure that their cash, the cash they're giving you through the loan, doesn't go to something that they do not intend, or they had not intended the loan to be used for. Okay, so in terms of loan purpose, the winner, there is no winner. We have a tie here. Okay, we have a tie. Both institutions are pretty cool in terms of the flexibility they allow members and borrowers when it comes to use of loan proceeds. Let me talk to you about the details of this two loans. Okay, let's dig a little deeper. Okay, well, the thing here is that once in a blue moon, you might have to apply for a Navy Federal personal loan or a PenFed personal loan. And it's just really important that you have a clear idea of what the loan is about, so you really don't make certain mistakes. Okay, now when we talk about Navy Fed, the loan amount, I've said it before, oscillates between $250,000 and $50,000. Okay, now the thing here is that you have to be very clear upfront with Navy Fed in terms of what you're going to use the money for. Okay, and in terms of the tenor of the loan, the maturity, you can go all the way to 180 months. This is really good. Okay, so you have 61 to 84 months, and then you have 85 to 80 months. So the thing here is that 61 to 84 months, they require a loan amount of $25 minimum, $25,000 minimum. 85 to 180 months require a minimum loan amount of $30,000. So they have a tiered sort of process in place. Okay, and depending on what you're going to use the money for, you might have a different tenor. For example, loans for personal expenses and debt consolidation have terms up to 60 months. Okay, home improvement loans have terms up to 180 months, and savings secure loans have terms up to 180 months, and certificate secure loans have terms up to 60 months. So this is what you have to see. Now the APR oscillates from 7.49% to 18%. Okay, and you can get a 0.25 rate discount, 0.25% rate discounts on a personal loan expense if you are an active duty or retired military member. So they have some kind of preference for those categories. And in terms of late fees, you have to pay a $29 late fee if you don't pay by the due date. But let's talk about PenFed. Now, PenFed, you are looking at $600 to $50,000, okay? And the APR goes from 5.99% to 17.99%, okay? And you can choose from 12, 24, 36, 48, or 60 months. And so PenFed may charge a late fee of up to $50 if you do not abide by the rules of the loan. Okay, but PenFed does not charge any origination fee, okay, and they don't charge any prepayment fee. So this means that you can pay off your loan at any time without additional fee. This is important, okay? And PenFed for us overall has an easy membership access. In other words, Navy Fed, to get into Navy Fed, it might take a while, but PenFed is open. You don't have to have any military, geography, location, professional, biology, affiliation to the military to qualify. Everybody's welcome. So in this category, the winner is PenFed. I want to talk to you about qualifications, boss. If you're there, if you're sitting there just to listen to me, and you're probably thinking about, hey, listen, I'm kind of interested in this loan. I'm talking to you, cuz, all right? Let's talk about qualification. How do you qualify for a Navy Federal Credit Union personal loan? So the membership, you got to be a member first, okay? In terms of credit score, they will take you in if you have a score of 670. But the thing is, we have seen in practice that they are very open. They can go all the way to 590 if you have a strong multi-product relationship with Navy Fed, okay? In terms of income requirements, they will take you in if you are making at least $12,000 a year, okay? We're talking here about gross income. It's very important, okay? And Navy Fed allows you to have a co-borrower, but not a co-signer, okay? So if you think about it, here is the distinction. A co-borrower is someone who is jointly responsible for a repayment of the loan, whereas a co-signer becomes responsible only if the primary borrower fails to repay. This is important to mention here. What about the qualifications for a PenFed personal loan? Now, the thing here is that PenFed loans are approved or declined based on a number of factors. Now, PenFed is more conservative, quote unquote conservative, if you will, than Navy Fed, okay? So PenFed will look at a constellation of factors, not just your income, but also they'll look at your education, they'll look at your job history and whatnot, okay? And one thing I want to say here is they want to make sure that you are able to repay the loan, okay? And so in terms of credit score, they want you to be around 650, okay, minimum. But again, we have seen in practice, they could go all the way down to 600. It's all about, again, the strength of your personal relationship, banking relationship with the institution, okay? And in terms of income requirements, they are around the same range as the Navy Fed. $12,000 will get you in, $12,000 a year. We're speaking here about gross income. So this is important. And in terms of co-signers and co-borrowers, PenFed allows applicants to include a co-borrower who is equally responsible for monthly payments on their application to help qualify for more favorable terms. So if your co-borrower has a better credit score or higher income than you do, boss, I'm talking to you now, you may be able to get a lower rate and save money on a PenFed personal loan, okay? So this is kind of cool. But PenFed does not allow co-signers. So in this category, in terms of qualification, there is no winner. So we have a tie here. There's no winner. Very important to mention. Let me talk to you about the application process, okay? Boss, let me just ask you a question. Have you found the loan application either at Navy Fed or PenFed complicated? Is it something that you are struggling with? If you are, you want to pay attention. It's important, okay? And you can say that again. You want to pay attention in terms of the loan application. It ain't complicated at all, okay? It ain't complicated, but you got to follow a certain code. Let's talk about Navy Fed. So Navy Fed, you want to fill out the application, preferably at a branch or over the phone. Now, if you can't do that, then you can do it online, not a problem. So you just fill out the application, you wait for approval, you sign the loan documents, okay, and you'll receive the money and repay the loan. The only thing is that Navy Fed is faster. As I said earlier, Navy Fed will get back to you probably within 1 or 2 days if everything is fine. As I said before also, when they ask you questions, do not ghost them. Don't try to ignore their correspondence. They don't like that. They're really, really responsive and they want you to be the same, okay? So when you really think about it, you can get your cash within 2 or 3 business days. It is as fast. Let's talk about PenFed. Well, with PenFed, what we love with PenFed is that they have a soft pull process that Navy Fed doesn't have. In other words, with PenFed, you have the ability to check your interest rate, to check your loan amount, and get some loan options before you actually apply. So this is kind of cool because this saves your ass of a hard pull, right? And this is kind of cool in terms of making sure that you have the right strategy here. The thing here is that with PenFed, what we love is that you are able to check your interest rate, you submit your information, you complete the official application, you become a PenFed member, okay? So this is kind of cool. So you don't have to be a PenFed member to apply for a personal loan, but you must become one to finalize your loan and receive the funds. Okay, and you must keep a minimum balance of $5 in a PenFed savings account to maintain your eligibility. Okay, so this is kind of cool. With PenFed, it takes longer to get the cash. You might take 2 or 3 or 4 business days. In some cases, it might take like one week. It depends on your financial information. It depends on how fast you get back to them. So in this category, the winner is Navy Fed. Navy Fed does not have a soft pull process, but they are faster in getting back to you once you apply for the loan and sign the promissory note. PenFed does have a soft pull, but they take longer to check out the information. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sort of Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation between about Navy Fed and PenFed's personal loans. Okay, both loans have $50,000 minimum here. Okay, and I'm gonna spill the beans on an alternative that you might be interested in. Do you know which one? Not Service Credit Union. Which one? No. I want to talk to you about USAA, because USAA is a great institution too. It is a membership-based bank that provides banking, investing, insurance, and other services to veterans and members of the military. Okay, along with eligible family members. So we're talking about it's not really a credit union, but it operates as a credit union. Okay, and USAA is a powerful institution here. Okay, it's important. So as a member, you receive perks and discounts. You have auto pay discounts, and co-borrowers are permitted. Okay. But in terms of drawbacks, co-signers are not permitted. So you have small loan amounts, and they can go all the way to $50,000, in some cases $100,000. But to actually get the $100,000, it takes a long time, and you got to be affiliated with the military, whether through biology, geography, profession. Okay. So one thing I want to say here is that USAA is best for current service members of the United States Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, Marines, Navy, National Guard, or Reserves. Okay, or you can be a veteran who was honorably discharged, or if you are affiliated with them through family ties. What I'm trying to say here is that if you meet those criteria, USAA may be the best personal loan for you. Okay, because they have great terms and great discounts over there. And so we're talking about $2,500 to $100,000. Okay, and loan terms 12 to 84 months. Okay, and the APR is 6.99% to 18.27%. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if you don't qualify for a PenFed personal loan or a Navy Fed personal loan, and you happen to be eligible for a USAA personal loan, this could be a good opportunity to check. Okay, boss, this is important. So if you want to qualify for a USAA personal loan, they're looking at credit score requirements. They want you to be around 650, 670. Income requirements, they want you to have at least $12,000. It's the same sort of minimum income for eligibility. We're talking about gross income here. Okay, they want, of course, you got to be a member of USAA. And in terms of co-signers and co-borrowers, as I said before, they actually allow co-borrowers. In other words, they want a joint personal loan, but they don't have time for a co-signer. Okay, so who is the winner overall? This is something you need to really pay attention to here. And so are you tense out there? Are you just like worried about which one you should choose? I want you to lighten up, okay? Nothing complicated here, because those two institutions are great. Those two loans are fantastic, okay? And so basically, just gonna give you when you apply for a loan, whether a PenFed or Navy Fed or whatnot, you want to pay attention to a few things, a few criteria that we paid attention to before actually choosing a winner here, okay? So you want to pay attention to loan cost. This is important because how much are they charging you? What's the APR? Talk to me about that, boss. Okay, have a clear conversation about the terms. We're talking about the loan details. How much are they giving you? $25,000, $40,000. What about eligibility and accessibility? How fast will the funds be disbursed? Okay, what's the customer experience? The cool thing is that whether you have chosen Navy Fed or PenFed, customer service is impeccable. Okay, what is the application process? Is it faster with either institution? How fast is it with PenFed versus with Navy Fed? So for me, for us, this was very important because those are the exact terms that we considered when analyzing those two loans. Okay, and you have to also pay attention to the credit score requirements, because not all is no depending on the loan amount and how long you want to have to repay the loan, they might ask you to have a high credit score. That makes sense, right? The longer the loan maturity. We're talking here about the longer the risk spectrum that your application projects onto either institution. So it's really important to have a clear idea of those criteria before you apply. Okay. If you want to learn more about methodology, because we do have a strict method on this show when it comes to, let's say, analyzing, categorizing, and reviewing personal loans, check this video out. Thank you so much, boss. I love the fact that you have made it so far here. So between Navy Fed 50,000 personal loan and PenFed 50,000 personal loan, our overall winner is Navy Fed. We believe that Navy Fed is faster. Navy Fed is faster in terms of the loan. They have a slightly better customer service. They are nationwide, something that PenFed is trying to catch up with. So in terms of a national footprint, Navy Fed has a competitive edge vis-a-vis PenFed. So we think overall both institutions are great, but Navy Fed has a slightly, I would say, higher offer than PenFed. Thank you so much for your attention. So in today's conversation, I actually talked to you about those two loans. I did the basics. I explained to you the loan purpose, the details, the qualification, the application, the alternative in terms of the USAA personal loan, and who the winner is. I'll talk to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.